Victoria, Australia hosts race 16. Sebastian Ocampo on pole from Marcus Nelson and Revo. Then it's Daniel Bogdasarov in fourth. Following him is Pablo Sierra and Daf Sanchez. Remy LeBeau starts 7th from Vasquez in 10 and Inet Babinis Jr. U Cables in 10th with Tommy in 11th and Oscar Folstad down in 12th. Santino Milan is 13th from Akari Lopez and Tonali Gabo. Then the Red Devils starting on the hards. He starts 16th from Zach Wallace and Mohamed Nawali. Enoch Q starts 19th from Zay Lane, Pierre Gasly, and in last position on the grid, Leo for Aurelio Pinnacle. Well, then after this one, there's only 4 more races to go. There's 126 points on offer. All 5 lights go on. And the Victoria E3 is green, and that's a very, very good start from both DS Yoshida drivers. Revo having to back off a little bit as they head down into the first chicane, and he might get done by Daniel Bogdasarov coming through, but just about holding his nerve as his teammate holds second, looking to the inside line there, and does dive. He's alongside Sebastian Ocampo there, and Leo with a 5-second time penalty further back. The two DS Yoshidas trying to pull a double attack on the sole Andretti in the top 5 as the other Andretti of Daf Sanchez dropping down to 8th position, but it is still Sebastian Ocampo who leads from Marcus Nelson and Revo. They are trying to do an offset strategy down at DS Yoshida as well, just making sure that one of their drivers can win, but Revo with the better soft tyres up into second now, and in fact he looks very racy indeed. He's 3/10 of a second off the back of Ocampo as we go on board with the double world champion. It's 2 double world champions in the top 2 positions, 4 championships between in the top 2 and 5 between the top 3. But as they now come across the line, it's Ocampo from Revo, Nelson, Bogdasarov, Sierra, Babinis Jr., Remy LeBeau, Sanchez, and possibly Tommy here. Is he? Yes, he was looking to try and make a move on the McLaren in front of him, but he's also got to try and defend from the McLaren behind, diving down the inside, and that's 9th position for the Hong Kong driver. Attack mode is officially online on this lap, and Bastian, he's probably going to have to let Folstad go by, as look at that, Remy LeBeau getting a track limits warning as he's trying to fight with Babinis Jr. there. Let's go on board with the Kiro Renault man in that very, very fluorescent yellow car, looking to the inside, not quite able to do it, but further up we've got somebody who might be able to try and take the lead. Attack mode for Revo and also for Bogdasarov. Down the inside he looks, not quite able to do it. Does he try and do it at the next turn? No, not yet. So his next opportunity will come on the start-finish straight and heading into 1 and 2. So now, onto that back straight, the main straight rather. Ocampo starts lap 3 in the lead. Many fastest laps coming in as they now come through the first chicanes. Revo still on the back of him, and he's not actually trying to make a move yet. Is that the pass? Not quite. He's still 2/10 back. Is that the look of a pass? However, he's definitely thinking about it. He's 2/10, 3/10 back, as we are still on board with the Italian, and in fact I think he might have to start defending from his own teammates. Nelson setting up fastest first sector as we go on board with Daniel Bogdasarov in the number 97, and he is getting very close. He has quite a bit more straight line speed and also quite a bit more grip because of those soft tyres, but all of these guys apart from Ocampo all getting attack mode, so I think if anyone's going to get the best shot of trying to take the lead, it's going to be Revo. He's 3/10 of a second back, but he's still not quite able to make the move. Bogdasarov in 4th, still following with Marcus Nelson, and he's really just kind of waiting to pick his move. We've now got 10 laps to go here in Melbourne. Victoria, we do call it the Victoria E3, however, Babinis Jr. fastest lap, that's the move for 3rd for Daniel Bogdasarov. He's still alongside with the Dane, however, I think, yes, Marcus Nelson reclaiming that 3rd position. Must have been a little bit of a scare for the number 13, season 9 champion, of course. And Bogdasarov, who is going for his first ever championship, he's 34 points off the championship lead, held by Oscar Folstad, who's down in 10th. So, if, say, Revo were to win this race, he would actually take the championship lead today. So he would really, dearly love to win here today, as he's following with Ocampo. He's going to get attack mode now, as they now head down into the double right-hand turn. Does he look to the inside? No, he's really just not thinking about making moves. He's just more worried about keeping in touch with the rest of the field. As we look here, battle for best of the rest, it seems, for 20th. And any of the top guys coming in. Saw a car come in, and that is Sebastian Ocampo into the pits. Someone else is coming in, that's Remy LeBeau and Oscar Volstad being one of the first drivers to come into the pits. Alongside them, Akari Lopez and Mohamed Nawawi. Those are the 5 drivers who have come in on lap 5. As Revo now leading the field from Marcus Nelson and Daniel Bogdasarov. As it would stand, Revo would take the championship lead by a single point ahead of Volstad. Bogdasarov inching into that championship lead. Meanwhile, Sebastian Ocampo who's the man currently in 4th, would probably even drop to 5th, because Nelson, he's been on a roll in recent races. And just to think, how brilliant would it be for Marcus Nelson to win a championship? He would actually take, if he were to win the championship this season, he would take the record for longest gap between championships won. It would be 11 seasons. As into the pits comes one of the Renaults. That is Bogdasarov coming in with Revo. And he could be held up here because drivers coming in as well. Held up for a little bit because Tommy was coming in. And will he come out behind Daniel? We're going to go on board with the number 7. And he is coming out ahead, thankfully. But then the worry comes from this man, Sebastian Ocampo. He was the first man of all those drivers to come into the pits. Is he still ahead or is he behind? It's going to be close. That is Revo ahead of Sebastian Ocampo on the track. But the number 76 and the 7 still not done squabbling yet. The overcut, for the first time in a long while, seems to have works in this championship with 8 laps to go. But look at that, around the outside for Sebastian Ocampo, who takes 10th position. Brilliant stuff from the 76 to just hold it around the outside, and just looks like he had more momentum in that DS Andretti car. As they now funnel through and into the final sector, as the race leaders in Marcus Nelson, Pablo Sierra and Babinus Jr. come into the pits according to our timing screens. So that does mean Bastien Tan into the lead, Gabo coming into the pits as well, the Red Devil staying out, many drivers coming in, and it's a 10-5, whatever penalty that Milan's getting. It's a 3rd track limits warning, sorry, I'm getting these words messed up, but Nelson coming out of the pits, and he's come out in 3rd, and it's a very close 3rd with the Andretti and Tachida guys in front of him, but more crucially, Bogdasarov's come out behind his teammates, and even more crucially, they are 2 seconds off of the top 3. Well, the provisional top 3, of course, because Zaylane, the Red Devil, and Bastien Tan all staying out, and somehow, at Mercedes, they thought that it's a good idea to try and extend as long as possible. And it makes sense. These guys don't have a very quick package this season. They are promising quite a bit for season 21. In fact, a lot of teams are promising quite a bit for season 21. You've got Sims Motorsport moving away from Nissan. It's Babinus Jr. getting a 5-second time penalty for causing a collision with Daniel Bogdasarov. They go 3 wide into that right-hander. We've seen before that it can cause incidents, but there just looks to have been a little bit easier on the drivers. Bastien's coming to the pits. It's Zaylane's come in, but the Red Devil staying out and taking the lead, as taking 2nd, breezing by Revo there with attack mode. And if he can romp off into the distance, that'll be the race lead handily, but still Ocampo close to him. I think Nelson might try and get attack mode. He's got a lot of grip now, having those soft tires on his car, and all he has to do now is close in, not just for himself and his championship fight, but for his team and teammate. Bogdasarov getting a track limits warning further back, as we see Ionet Babinus Jr. fighting with Pablo Sierra. They're alongside each other. I was just making sure that was Sierra. As fastest 2nd sector going to the Spaniard. It's attack mode for Babinus Jr., who also goes off the track and is still alongside him. Here they come through the right-hand turn. Almost contact there, but just keeping it as clean as possible. How have they not made contact? In fact, still almost a side swipe from the second fastest to race in this championship. 6 laps to go. Now 5. Revo leading from Ocampo and Nelson. Fastest lap goes to Bogdasarov at 104.4. As there goes Sierra up to 4th, and I think Bogdasarov might want to follow him through. But now we look to the front of the pack. Revo is leading, and Ocampo is within attack mode, striking distance, but Nelson all over the back of the Andretti, and in fact, it's going to be a swift move for Marcus Nelson to get himself up into second and make it a DS Techeetah 1-2 currently with 5 laps to go. But now the question is, when it comes to the second round of pit stops, that will come most likely between laps 11, 12 and 13. Will they remain so lucky? As we look quite a ways down the order to the Nissan-powered guys fighting over 14th. That's an Alt-Huey ahead of Zach Wallace, still alongside each other. And in fact, if we look further up front as they now round the final turn, into the pits comes Sebastian Ocampo. He's trying to do the undercut. The undercut right now might not work, but look at this, on track. 2 of the most experienced champions on the field. Nelson takes the lead from Revo. And that could actually be the championship lead being stripped away by Revo's own teammates. I'm pretty sure team orders could be in order there, as Nawali coming into the pits as well to go onto softs. And let's see, what's Revo's move now? Is he going to try and fight Nelson, or is he going to stay behind? Is he just going to hope that he pits second and can try and do the undercut? They're going to wait, 100% they are going to wait for the virtual safety car. They want to see a virtual safety car around here, although this is one of the tracks where it's least likely to happen. As they now head down, attack mode wide open for Revo, but still not quite able to make anything of it. I think one of these 2 DS guys is going to come into the pits. Neither of them did. Okay, on to lap 11 we go, and once again, attack mode for Revo. What's he going to do? Is he going to try and get past Marcus here? Looks to the inside, has to dive off the track and dip a wheel on the gravel. As many drivers coming into the pits. Revo looking to the inside at turn 3, where we've seen cars come into contact before, but still very clean, and still Revo behind his teammates. He is racing Nelson as hard as possible. I'm not even sure that the Italian sees him as his own teammate at this point, because at this point in time, the only thing standing between Revo and the championship lead is Marcus Nelson, his very own teammate, the Season 9 champion, stopping the 16-17 champion from trying to take his third. Attack mode once again wide open for Revo, still in the slipstream. He's got a lot more wear, and I'd expect one of these 2 to come into the pits, but they're still holding their positions. Is this strategy just so they can break away from the rest of the pack? It's 23 seconds, 22 seconds the gap, and into the pits comes Revo, so they are trying to undercut their own driver, as in comes, as well as that, Pablo Sierra and Tommy. And that looked to be a pretty swift stop there, very close to contact within the pits. We go on board with Sebastian Ocampo. He's rounding the final turn now, and what DS hope to see is Ocampo behind, or at the very least alongside. And that's not going to happen. Ocampo has the net race lead now, with the undercut finally working for the Andretti driver. He's now 2.8 seconds actually in front of the DS Techeetah driver. And I think with 2 laps to go, this is going to come right down to the wire if they do get very close to each other, as we see a fight that has been going on for quite a while. Yui versus Gabo versus the Red Devil. And looking at Yui's tires, he should come into the pits quite soon. Marcus Nelson, as he's rounding the penultimate turn, he's almost certainly going to come into the pits at the end of this lap, but luckily for him, he's going to go on to another set of softs, so a medium soft strategy could have just worked for the Danes. Look at this, from the Red Devil looking to try and lurch down the inside. It's going to be the outside of the penultimate turn, the inside of the last one. Bogdasarov has the net race lead, but he's coming to the pits. Nelson's coming out of the pits now, and Ocampo steaming down the main straight. The Red Devil takes the race lead, but who's going to come out in front? It is Ocampo from Revo, from Nelson, and Sebastian Ocampo right now with the net race lead on the penultimate lap. However, the Red Devil yet to make his second stop, and considering that we're on the penultimate lap, I don't think he will. This could be another first win in this championship, in the season even. And it's going to come from the other Kiro Renault driver. Both Kiro Renault drivers have been absolutely fantastic throughout the entirety of Season 20. And to see this man, the Red Devil, try and go for his first race win would be outstanding. And I think it would actually be his first podium as well, as it was with Remy LeBeau. These guys came into this championship at Kiro Race Co. not expecting to win races or score podiums. All they wanted was some very good points. But as he now goes on to the final lap here in Victoria, Australia, the Red Devil is on the cusp of his first ever race win. Revo further back is still trying to close in on Sebastian Ocampo. He's dumping all of his battery on the straight right before turn 3. He comes through there, and still the guys in second and third, they're going to have to try and make the most of their tyres as they now come through the final sector and a half. Track limits warning for Revo as he's just set a faster sector. He's all over the back of Sebastian Ocampo. He's going to get attack mode on Sebastian Ocampo, whose soft tyres have had enough. Fastest first sector for Bastien Tan. And as the fight for second position is only heating up, it's attack mode for Revo. He's coming through the fourth to last turn now, and he's on the cusp of glory. He rounds the final turn now, and it will be victory for the first time in his career for the Red Devil. And for Kiro Renault, it's their second win ever. The Red Devil wins the Victoria E3, and at the line, Ocampo just about ahead. Fastest lap for Revo, however. Marcus Nelson is fourth from Babinus Jr., Pablo Sierra, Daf Sanchez, Remy LeBeau. But crucially, Oscar Folstad scores 0 points today. 1 point for Daniel Bogdasarov. I don't know exactly how it is currently, but I do believe that Folstad should be leading from Revo, Ocampo, possibly even Nelson in fourth, and then Bogdasarov dropping all the way to fifth. But here's the podium then. It's victory for the first time in his career for the Red Devil, who wins the Victoria E3 ahead of Sebastian Ocampo and Revo in third position. Then you've got Marcus Nelson in fourth, Pablo Sierra fifth, Remy LeBeau finished in seventh behind Daf Sanchez, because you've got Tommy in eighth, Daniel Bogdasarov in ninth, and Oscar Folstad just about getting 10th place because of Arnett Babinus Jr.'s 5-second time penalty. Bastien Tan finished in 12th from UK Ball and Tenali Gabba. Then it's the two Nissan Nismos of Santino Milan in a not queue. Zach Wallace finished in 17th from Akari Lopez and Mohamed Wawi, with Pierre Gasly, Zay Lane, and Leo being the last of your finishers. In the driver's standings, Folstad leads the way, but how far ahead is he of Revo? Well, I'll tell you, it's not that much. I think it's actually just 9 points. Bogdasarov is third, 1 point ahead of Ocampo, and only 2 points back you'll find Marcus Nelson. This fight for the championship is heating up, and it's heating up fast. Pablo Sierra in 6th from Tommy and Daf Sanchez. Then it's Remy LeBeau in 9th, the Red Devil in 10th. Those are the drivers currently who would make it through to the postseason, the chase for the Cup. Then you've got Babinus Jr. in 11th, followed by Bastien Tan, Tenali Gabo, Minot Q, UK Ball, Santino Milan, Leo, Mohamed Awawi, Zay Lane, Zach Wallace, Pierre Gasly, and Kari Lopez. So in the constructors' standings, heading into race 17 in Amsterdam, DS Chichita leading the way on 305 points from Renault Edam, and then it's DS Andretti. Then you've got DS McLaren TGR and DS Venturi Formula E team. Kiro Renault in 6th place, and quite handily in 6th place. They could try and go for 5th in the constructors. Then you've got Nissan Nismo, Sims Motorsport Nissan, Braun Honda GP, Aurelio Pinnacle, and Mercedes EQ. We'll see you guys next time then when the Formula E Monoposto Championship returns in Amsterdam.